We as individual realtors ultimately play an integral role in determining our own success. Yet it certainly helps to know what we have come through, what we have achieved, and some of the challenges which will likely confront us in the months ahead. I would like to suggest that we focus on individual or personal development. I think it's important for us to recognize our value as salespeople. I think it's important for the public to be able to recognize that that value is a benefit to the transaction and to the process, and that we have a formulated process that we follow that helps them to see the differences that we have as individuals between whether they do it themselves, whether they hire a realtor, and ultimately the importance that you bring to the transaction as an individual.
We are starting to break through that 13,000 threshold, and of course we not only broke through it, last year we got through it in record time. We were in early December, we already had surpassed our record year back in 2007. Single family is always our dominant one, and that'll continue to be that way. Nearly 3 out of 4 are single family home sales. Condos are around 13%. They've certainly come up, but still quite modest compared to the main one. And then we have all these other property type, which make up another about 13, 14%.
Partly why it was so good is it wasn't just our main bread and butter residential attached or single family home, which represents 3 out of 4 sales, and then condos, which is another 13%, which did roar back in 2016. It was some other unheralded property types that most people don't even realize. Mobile homes, resort properties, townhouses were up nearly 40%, single attached, commercial did very well, vacant land with building. So it really was kind of all across the board.
2016 was a very successful year by all accounts. We actually outperformed many of our Western Canadian neighbors, which is a rare occurrence in terms of Winnipeg.
I think that 2017 is going to continue to be a strong year. I think in general, Manitoba, as was discussed many times today, is a very stable economy, and it's a stable market. It's broad-based. We don't expect to see any major upswings or downturns in 2017. There's certainly some macroeconomic factors that we don't control that may have some impact depending on how they play out in the new year, but we expect to see a stable and strong growth year.
One of the most important trends in the market, as Peter mentioned, is downtown development, which will certainly continue in 2017. We have noted 3 major projects: True North Square, Artist REIT's refacing of 360 Main and subsequent new apartment tower at 300 Main Street, and Sky City. In my view, there has not been this much positive momentum in downtown Winnipeg as there is presently, certainly in my 11 years in the commercial market here in the city.
We certainly don't expect any sort of major downturns in terms of the Winnipeg market. We think it's going to continue to grow. We think the companies that are based here are doing well. They're growing. They're looking at potentially, some companies are looking at relocating back downtown that previously have moved out of our downtown. So we see nothing but good things for the downtown market as a whole. Our industrial market's strong. Tenant demand is strong. Tenants are growing. Tenants are moving around into larger spaces, not smaller. And we're seeing new retail developments coming online that have been long awaited.
The big story in 2017 is going to be the delivery of the outlet collection at Seasons, which is a 400,000 square foot enclosed mall scheduled for opening in May of this year.
Predictions are that Canadian economy will have some sectors that start to grow, moderating in 2018 to around 2%. And most of that is because of uncertainty that we're seeing. I mean, the U.S. economy is already growing, but if he can really stimulate that growth with those kind of policies, that's going to have an impact on Manitoba and on Canada, because we're a trading country with the U.S. And when the U.S. grows, history tells us that the Canadian economy and the Manitoba economies grow. If you look at the Manitoba economy, it did kind of moderate in growth in the last year, and our estimates were for about 2% this year, which was fairly strong, above the growth in Canada, and we're still predicted to grow somewhere between 2 and 2.4% in 2017, and so we exceed the average for Canada, and we have for a number of years.